share my screen. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we might need to hopefully you can mute yourself if you can't.
The baby's crying.
Try and open it.
I'm on my talk. I can't talk. I can hear you.
Okay. Aha, that's not what I want to do. I want to. One second. Give me a couple of seconds while I load. Guys, if you're not muted, are you able to mute yourselves, everyone? It should be a little microphone. Sorry, I'm just trying to locate this PowerPoint. I've just managed to lose it. Okay, there we go. Right, so everybody, hopefully you can see me. Welcome to our training this evening. Our topic tonight is sampling, sharing and inviting. So lots to be covering. But before we get started, I just wanted to go over a couple of things with you all. So first of all, I just got back from boot camp. Tim and I and the boys had a lovely trip to Portugal, which was wonderful. I felt like it was going back to my roots because Mascarenhas, our surname, it was my father's name, and our family were from Portugal. But I've only been there once in my life. We don't have any family there, so I really did feel like doTERRA was taking me back to my roots, and it was a very special experience actually. Anybody who doesn't know what boot camp is about, it's a group of leaders that from separate teams that come together, and it's a European thing to try and help the people within other teams to progress within the business. Can you guys mute yourselves if you're not muted already? Should be able to do that. Bottom left, there's a little mic button, because I can still hear a little bit of background noise. And it'll save me coming out and back in again. So hopefully that's okay. One of the things that really struck us about boot camp was how sharing and giving it is. You know, we were there with none of our team there, none of you guys, and we were kind of there to support doTERRA in Europe and share our knowledge with people. But, you know, you had really huge leaders there as well, like Boyd Truman, who's a double presidential diamond from America. He's known as the Wheels Guy, and he's really amazing. He's so knowledgeable, and he had flown thousands of miles all the way from the States to be there with zero downline at all, and yet he was so giving and sharing of his knowledge. And that just for me emphasizes what doTERRA is all about, and the team culture, and how we help others, and don't just put ourselves and our own teams first. Obviously, as a team, you guys are so important to us, but it's just lovely how sharing we are as a company. So it was very special. We went over a lot of skill, but also some mindset stuff and some practical skills as well. And so I would definitely suggest the next boot camp for anybody who's interested. And you're best to book them quite quickly, because once they go on offer, once they're available, they sell out quite fast because there's not many spaces. So we'll do our best to let you know when the next boot camps are coming up. So what next? for anybody who's coming to London tomorrow, we've got the evening, and Boyd Truman, who I just mentioned to you, is coming, which is so exciting. And he's going to be talking about the presentation that he did last week on the lifelong vitality and some other consumable products, and it's fascinating. So if you're coming, you're in for a real treat. And anybody else that isn't coming tomorrow, he's going to be coming to Northampton in October. So the dates for that are the 27th for the Builders' Day and the 28th for the National Wellness Day, which is also for customers and for anybody. And Boyd's going to be sharing his knowledge on the Builders' Day on the Friday, and there are still places available for that. Okay, so I would definitely suggest going along to Northampton for both those days if you can, and it's held in a hotel, so you can actually book to stay over, and we have a little party on the Friday night. Sadly, Tim and I can't be there, which is a shame because we love it, the Northampton Summit, but I know so many from our team will be there, so it's a really great event to go to. And also, just being there last week and having been to convention in the last few weeks, it just struck me that if any of you guys don't yet have your tickets for the London convention, you have to go. There's no excuse. It's like getting the Olympics to the UK, and it's not going to come back. And if you guys want to move forward with your business and grow a doTERRA business, it's such a fantastic opportunity to go to the London convention. So May next year, if you haven't got your tickets, get them, because you don't want to miss out on that. It's going to be amazing. So next thing I want to talk about before I get into sampling, sharing and inviting is there's been a little bit of confusion about whose trainings to log on to. There's various different groups, and so basically my trainings, our team trainings, will always be on Tuesday nights unless we change things, and we've got this new builder training which is actually open to everybody. It's always great to recap on these skills. That's going to be at 8 o'clock every week as it is now, and then following on from that we'll do a little bit of further training at 8:30 or 8:40 depending on when we finish, for the rest of the team as well. But as I said, it's great for everybody just to join the whole thing if you want to, because you can never have too much knowledge. Now, Rebecca and Nathan, obviously, they have their own Facebook group. They're My Uplines, and their Facebook group is Silver Blossom. You guys don't need to be part of that unless you want to. Obviously, they're great people and they've got a great amount of knowledge and love to share as well. But the way that we've kind of been trained is that if you have a diamond leader, with me, then you can kind of rely on your diamond leader for your trainings and for the sort of Facebook groups as well. So Rochelle, who's obviously part of my team, has now incredibly hit diamond, so she is kind of now got her own Facebook groups and doing her own trainings, and you guys, when you get there, you'll be at the stage when you're ready to do that too. So you are welcome to log on to other people's trainings, but we don't want you to feel overwhelmed by too many trainings, and we don't want you to be confused about whose trainings to go on to. So always come on our trainings, Tim and I, and then if you want to do others, you can, but you don't have to. So hopefully that's made that clear. And the next thing I just wanted to remind you is, don't forget about our incentive offer this month. Loads of you have been really promoting it, and loads of you are having lots and lots of orders, which is fantastic, and that's why we wanted to offer you such a good incentive. So remember, it's a free On Guard touch for any enrolment orders over 100 PV. And for any enrolment orders of over 200 PV, your people can get a free balance oil and an On Guard touch. And those two products are probably worth about over £40 together. So it's a great offer. Two amazing products, two of my favourite products. So you've got till the end of the month. If you get any enrolments, email Tim, and he will send either, if it's just one order, he'll send it directly out to the person. If you've got several orders, just let us know what oils you need and we'll send them to you, and then you can send them out to people. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm just gonna shut the door. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to our training tonight, which is sampling, sharing and inviting. Please do mute yourselves if you're not muted, because I can still hear a little bit of background noise. So, there's 3 keys to success at the start. That is, live the product. Okay, this is so important, as we were learning about in our training last week. If you didn't make the training last week, it is still up on our Facebook group. But living the product is so integral, so that you can be authentic and people will pick up on your truth and your passion. Then we need to learn the basics of products and the business. We spoke again about that last week. And sample a lot. Follow up with the people that you've sampled with and invite them to classes. And I think this is a really key thing. Attend every one of our trainings, especially at the beginning. And, you know, as I said last week, when I started, I was just like a sponge. I just wanted to absorb as much information as possible. So do attend the trainings, because it will help you for sure. Obviously, you need to be signed up on LRP, which is your loyalty rewards points, and that helps you to be able to receive your commission and your bonuses. So you need to be doing at least 100 PV by the 15th of the month. So if you haven't got that set up on your account already, speak to the person who enrolled you and they'll help you with that. It says 150 PV there. Moving forward, that's so power of 3, which is one of the commissions, can be attained. But I always say to people, you have to do at least 100 to get your commission, otherwise you won't get paid, and you want that. And then 150 moving forward once you start to earn some money back. We want you to get earning your money back straight away. And you've got mydoterra.com is your back office to log into. And then obviously if you're spending over 125 PV before the 15th of the month, you get a free product, which is always lovely. We always love a freebie. So learn. Where can you learn? We covered some of this last week. The doTERRA main website, paying special attention to the science blog and doTERRA University. They're really great parts of the main doTERRA website. And the resource books that we spoke about. So Modern Essentials, the Essential Life Guide. And belief and personal development is one of the things that you will really start to embrace and will develop as you go on your doTERRA journey. In life and in business, the one element that matters most is belief. Your business will only go as far as your belief. As your belief grows, you will naturally advance in doTERRA. And your belief will start to grow, because we all know that when we started, we had doubts. We worried if we were going to be good enough at this, if we were going to have the ability. And if some of the aspects of the business were for us, so many of us have those fears. But don't let those fears stop you, because you can use them to make you stronger, and then you will grow fast. Okay, so recommended reading, The Slight Edge, Go Pro, or as we announced last week, we have our book club and we're reading at the moment The Go Giver. So if you want to be on our book club, you've got a week left to get this book and to read it by next Tuesday, by our training next week. And we've got our separate Facebook page. So if you want to be admitted to our doTERRA book club, then ask to be joined and I can approve you. And we're going to be doing some really nice inspirational reading together, which is kind of cool. So let's move on to how to share, such a key part of our business. So there's a real importance in effective sampling, okay? And it's really important that we get this right, because it will help you with your generating interest and your enrollment. So here's a nice example. If you just invite people to a class without doing any sampling, 30% will come and only 30% of them will buy. And this has been researched by our uplines in America, the Shedavies. They did a big bit of research into what would get the most people to buy oils. And this is what they came up with, this concept, and it works, okay? So if you sample, 80% of people will come to the class and 80% of people will buy. And another note to think of is that to get to elite, which is one of the first recognized ranks to get to. It's a hard place to get to. Some people get there faster than others, but to get to this rank, you have to do 30 classes if you don't sample, and only 4 classes if you do. So what would you rather be doing, 30 or 4? I know what I would rather do. Okay, so make it easy for yourself. Okay, so the summary of effective sampling is the first contact, and you want to be contacting that person in the best way for them. Okay, so if they're a Facebook user, use Facebook. In most cases, I would say face-to-face and by phone is the best way. But, you know, some people, you don't have their phone number, or you're not likely to see them, in which case, if you know they're a Facebook user, you might, you know, message them on Messenger or WhatsApp or text message. You know, I know my mum always checks her text, probably won't go on Facebook. So that's the sort of person that you might text. So just always contact that person with the best modality for them. And then you want to give them their sample with instructions. And we're going to go into this in a bit more in a minute. And then 2 days later, you want to follow up, face-to-face or by phone call, ideally. Then, if it's a good experience that they've had with their oil that they've been sampled with, you want to invite them to a class. But if it's not, you want to offer them another sample and follow up again with them 2 days later, and keep going with this process until they have had a good, positive experience. Okay, and you want this because you want them to come to that class loving the oils already, wanting to buy something already. Okay, so what do you need to know? You need to know how to look up an ailment using the resources, using the books. We went through some of that last week. It's very simple. You need to know what is an essential oil. Again, this is in the beginning of your books, all over the doTERRA website. What makes our oils different? This is important. Our CPTG basics. Our oils are certified pure therapeutic grade. They're amazing. They're incredible. And they're totally different to other oils. So again, you need to have a bit of knowledge on this. And you need to know the 3 ways to take the oils, which again, we covered last week, but is also at the beginning part of your book and in many, many trainings: aromatically, topically, and internally, or A, T, and I. And then I've got some notes highlighted here of places where you can look for all of this info. So doTERRA University, doTERRA Tools, the doTERRA Science blog, for any scientists out there, the Modern Essentials book, which I love, or the Essential Life book. These are great places for you guys to be starting. Safety tips: we want to keep the oils out of our eyes, ears and nose. Dilute with a carrier oil but not water. Hot oils should always be diluted, and examples of those would be oregano, clove and cinnamon, or any of the hotter oils. Citrus oils are photosensitive. Okay, that means that if you apply them to your face and then go out in hot sun, then you could burn. So this is something we need to remember when sampling. So best to wait 12 hours before direct contact with sun after topical application. That's okay, like if you're going to be applying a citrus oil to your back and then wearing a t-shirt over the top, that's fine. It's just we wouldn't advise applying lemon oil on your face and then going and sunbathing. You know, that wouldn't be wise. Start small. On the feet is a great place to start and build up, because you can always build up but you can't take away. Often with the oils, less is more. Act with care and follow guidelines and your intuition. Listen to your body, and this is what we want to be telling our customers. These oils are powerful. We do need to emphasize this. They do need to be respected. What do you guys need to be able to sample? Well, you need your oils, okay? And I love doTERRA because, you know, as a startup cost for a business that has so much potential, all you need is a set of oils. You don't need to be investing thousands and thousands of pounds into this business. It's very, very easy to be able to make your money back very quickly, because all you need to invest in is this kit. Some people like to buy bigger kits, but actually this is the kit that I bought and this was fine. And we need to have these oils in our hands, on our fingertips, to be able to use them and live them ourselves, because how can we share them if we don't love them? Okay, so this is really important. So you need to have your oils to be able to sample and share them with others and generate your own testimonials and have your own experiences with them. And then obviously there are these other resources, the books, the sample bottles, the fractionated coconut oil. There's these little A to Z guides that you can get from the same place that you get the books, and you'll get your stickers which come with your oils to put on the top of the bottle tops, the sample bottle tops. Some people like to get the little organza bags. You can pick them up off eBay or Amazon for really, really cheap. So you don't need much to be starting and sampling. And this is where we suggest purchasing your business tools. I love these guys, Viv and Paul from Essential Oil Supplies. So anything that you can't get in your back office on your doTERRA account, you can get through them. I love their sample bottles because they're a little bit smaller than the sample bottles that you can get through your doTERRA back office. So it makes it look like your 10 drops a bit bigger and that you're not being stingy. Obviously, you need to be a bit careful because you don't want to be using up all your oils really quick, and 10 drops is sufficient for people to have an adequate amount to be able to have a good experience. So let's move on what to sample. This is what a lot of you guys are going to want to be knowing when you're starting. So an important thing to remember is sample a minor ailment where a result can be seen quickly. Physical ailments are usually best. Generally, we only sample oils from the Family Essentials kit, as this is the best introductory kit, and they're so versatile. The oils within this kit, generally there is an oil for everything. This is a kit that we very strongly believe is the best kit for people to start out with as well. And once they get their head around this kit, start using these oils, then after that, they have their own account that they can start trying some other products. But it's a really great place to start. And obviously, when people buy a kit, it's much cheaper for them than if they're buying just a few oils separately. Then they have to buy the separate account, wholesale account cost as well, which is £24, whereas that's included with the price of the kits. So this is why we really are big on promoting the kits to people, because it's the best option for them. So these are some of the oils that we can sample within the Intro Essentials kit, or the Home Essentials kit. So peppermint is a great oil for headaches, also for congestion. Lemon, lavender and peppermint is the hay fever or allergy trio. Obviously that's a big one around springtime, that a lot of people suffer with allergies. Lavender is a great oil, very, very effective for any bites or stings. Also, it's a sedative oil, so very, very supportive of restful sleep. Lavender and melaleuca together, and geranium, if needed, are a great combination for skin and for eczema. Now, eczema is a bit of a difficult one to sample. When we spoke about sampling an ailment where a result can be seen quickly, I'd say eczema is not possibly one of those ailments, because there's often more to address, often gut-related issues, and it can take a little bit longer for the eczema to heal. And sometimes, obviously, we need to address the root cause, not just the symptom. However, people will still see an improvement. But, you know, this might not be the best symptom to be addressing if you're wanting people to have quite a fast, instantaneous result. Lavender and melaleuca for earache or an ear infection. This is amazing. My children, they woke up in the middle of the night screaming with ear infections following a cold, and I used lavender and melaleuca as suggested in the book on a bit of cotton wool in their ear with a plaster over the top. They went back to sleep, and by the next morning, totally fine. No Calpol, no visit to the doctors, no antibiotics. Amazing. Such a comfort as a mother. So what to sample continued. Zengest, more commonly known or previously known as Digest Zen. It's changed names here in the UK because of EU regs. This is a great oil to share because people notice such significant fast results for heartburn, any digestive issues, constipation, diarrhea, travel sickness, acid reflux, IBS. It's a great oil for sampling. Oregano, warts, verrucas, molluscum, skin tags, Flu is another one that you could add on there. It's an anti-inflammatory oil. So I sampled a gentleman once, and he had it wasn't me actually, it was Kathy sampled a gentleman once, lovely Kathy on our team, and he had man flu. Well, probably had real flu, but we shouldn't always think that when a man has flu it's man flu. I think he was serious, but yeah, you know what I mean. So he had flu, and he took the flu bomb as suggested in the book, and the next day he realized that his chronic back pain that he'd had for years had gone away. And that obviously just goes to show that the oils go in and work their magic even when we're not possibly taking them for that ailment. And it just goes to show how the oils help the body to heal itself at a cellular level. So very exciting. Breathe is a great one for any respiratory issues, sinusitis as well, because it opens the tubes and the airways. Melaleuca, also known as tea tree, is a great skin oil for dandruff, for acne, spots. And then deep blue is your pain oil. Anything arthritic or muscular, migraines is also a great oil. Even growing pains in children. Deep blue and frankincense together is fantastic for migraines, as it says there. And all of this information is in your books. And use the tribe, use the WhatsApp group, use the Facebook page, because we have such an amazing, strong, knowledgeable team who are just so happy to share their knowledge and love with you guys. So if you're just starting out and think, oh, I've got this person, I don't know what to sample her with, use the tribe, because in most cases someone will have had an experience there and will be happy to share it with you. Okay, moving on, how to sample. So we generally place 10 to 12 drops of the chosen oil into a sample vial, and then put your little plastic lid and push that down with your thumb, and then put your lid on. And then you're going to want to put your sticker on the top. You may choose to dilute. I don't always dilute myself because I feel like the oil is less versatile. When we do that, you can't then use it in the diffuser. You can't put it in water. So, you know, I tend to give it to them neat and then tell them to dilute, or say, have you got a carrier oil? But if it's an oil for a child or a young baby, I may dilute. So again, just using your intuition and doing what you think is the best in that case. The purpose of a sample is to give them an experience so they want to learn more. Give them that positive experience. If they don't get it, you want to find out why and try something else. Or perhaps in most cases they weren't using it right. They didn't use enough of it, or they didn't quite do something right. So, you know, just finding out what they did, working out how you can help them, always putting them first, always trying to help them. That is our mission. That is what we are trying to achieve with doTERRA, helping as many people. And if you do that, then you will progress and you will grow. 10 to 12 drops is enough. Don't feel like you're being stingy. You need your oils to help lots of people, not just one person. Let them know how to tap the bottle to get the drops out. When you get out your hands on a little sample bottle, it's sometimes quite difficult to know how to use it. So if you just hold it upside down and tap with your index finger, the drops will come out. And something optional you can do if you want to is send them an online link to do with their sample, perhaps with some safety instructions or some guidelines. Sometimes I'll send a living magazine. This is the doTERRA magazine, and it has great information in it. It often has some recipes. So sometimes if somebody hasn't really got anything that they want sampling with, or they don't realise that they do, they don't know of anything that they can think of to ask for, I might just send them the living magazine and look up one of the recipes that's inside and give them a sample of something that's in that recipe so they can practice making something or use, you know, use that themselves. So that's quite a nice idea. The 100 list. Okay, this is really important, guys. Okay, I know that this seems daunting, but this is something that we all need to do. It's something that I've done. And just being in Portugal last week with some of the leaders in doTERRA who've been involved with doTERRA for a lot longer than me. Obviously, our team's grown really quick. I've been doing this 2 years now, but some of the leaders there have been doing it since the beginning. And they sat at the back and they did another 100 list. You know, if you've done it before, do it again. It's going to help you. There are always people we know, and it will just help you to really think outside of the box and think of the people, and not only the people you know, but the people that they know. And it was just going to help you to get the oils out there. So I urge you to all do this, okay? So the first step is to write down everyone you know or have ever known, and think not just of the people you know, but of who they know. And I have a great document that I'm going to be sharing with you, which is going to help you to think of those people. And it's like your plumber, your plumber's wife, your son's school teacher, and lots and lots of different types of person that you can be contacting. Sometimes people say to me, oh, I just don't know enough people. And I'll say to them, how many people did you speak to today? How many paths did you cross? There is always somebody that needs these oils. You have a gift. Don't be afraid to share it. Then the next thing that you want to do after you've done your 100 list, which is your homework this week, should you wish to oblige, is to give each person on the list a score out of 7. So some of us went to visit our uplines in Prague earlier on this year, Patrick and Elise Shedevy, and they're probably the biggest. They've got the biggest team within doTERRA. They actually have 25% of the whole of doTERRA on their downline. And I think they earn something like $250,000 a month, you know, just pocket money. But very, very inspiring people nonetheless. And they obviously know how to do this business. And this is something that they have put together that works. So I'm going to go into this, how to score your 100 list, in a minute. So what you're going to do then is work out a strategy of how you're going to approach each person on that list, okay? So what we suggest is, once you've scored them, is you're going to start with the top 20 sort of best people. And you're going to start with just giving one sample per person. In the past, I've given people loads of samples, but that can get a little bit confusing. What you really, really want is to get the right sample for that person and to really hit them with it. And the oils are powerful. So, you know, if you're really finding out and building that relationship with the person and listening to their needs, you should be able to just find one sample for them that is going to work and is going to be the catalyst to get them to that class because they have a great experience with it. Start with the least expensive sample. Why is this? Well, I'm going to tell you, it is not because you're being stingy, but actually you want them to be able to find a solution for their problem that costs them the least amount of money. So that is why we'll start with the least expensive sample. But when you're using your book, it's going to give you loads of different oils for each different ailment, okay? So choose one of the cheapest oils, choose one of the oils that's in the Family Essentials kit or the Home Essentials kit, and then if that doesn't work for them, you can try the next cheapest, or another oil that's in the kit, and just, you know, work your way through them until you find the one that is for them. Everybody's chemistry is different, so it's not a one shoe fits all sort of thing here. We really need to work with the person. Just like when you go to the doctor, you know, they don't always get the solution straight away. Sometimes you need to go back and say, this isn't working for me, and they'll try something else, okay? It's the same. And on average, it takes between 5 to 8 touches before someone will purchase an oil. You know, sometimes it's about playing the long game. I have people contacting me now that I contacted when I first started. So don't be deflated if they don't order straight away. Sometimes it takes that time for them to build up that trust with you, or to really find the time, find the need for those oils in their lives. So get touching people with the oils and start your snowball rolling. So this is going to help you with your 100 list. This is how we score our people, okay? And this is what Patrick and Elise put together, okay? So generally, they did some research on what sort of person became the most standard sort of person to do the business and became the most successful type of person to do the business. And the most successful people within doTERRA had these 7 attributes or qualities or circumstances in their lives. Okay, so these are how it's going to help you to rate your people. So the 7 things that they found with the most successful people in doTERRA were, they were women. Don't worry if you're not a woman. It doesn't mean you can't be successful with doTERRA. Don't worry if you've got somebody that you think is amazing. There are teams that are solely made of men and businessmen, and they're extremely successful. So we're not saying that, but generally, in most cases, it's women with the business. And do you want to know why? This is because women tend to be more patient than men, tend to be. What often happens with doTERRA is women get involved first, fall in love with the products and the oils, and then the men see the money coming in and want to join too. That's what often happens. And it tends to be women between 35 and 45 years. Having said that, if you're above that or you're underneath that, that doesn't, again, mean you can't do the business. I think Jessie Romers was 26 or something when she started out. Look how successful she is. When I started, I was 34, so I was a bit younger. Yeah, but this is, one of the things most people are within this age group. That's because people have had a bit of a story. Sometimes they have more of a need. Sometimes they've worked with other companies and they're still searching for that thing. Maybe their children have grown up and they've got a bit more time. So this is why this figure shows up. The third thing is that people who are interested in natural things. Again, this isn't always the way. Elise Shedevy, who I've mentioned to you, she wasn't into natural things. But a lot of the people that are attracted to doTERRA do love the natural way. One key attribute that helps is somebody who's been in business before, who is an entrepreneur, who perhaps has run their own business or is, tried different things, and they're looking for that bit of stardust to be really successful, and they've got a bit of background business knowledge. Money need helps as well. Somebody that that really wants to achieve success because they need it may work harder than somebody that doesn't need it. And this can help somebody who's influential, who has a network of people around them that trust them. So a lot of people within doTERRA are practitioners that already have their own networks, or health coaches or lifestyle coaches, and this helps, but it's not the be all and end all. I am just a mum, and I've been very successful and fast moving with doTERRA. So don't worry if you feel that you're not that person. And then a supportive spouse really helps too. Again, not the be all and end all, but certainly helpful. So these are the 7 key things that are going to help you to rate your 100 people. And what you do is you add up how many points they have and give them a score between 1 and 7. If they've got 7, then they're a really great person that you're perhaps going to want to think about contacting first. And you're going to contact your first 20, your highest scoring 20 people on your list first. Think to yourself, who can I help today? Are you open to natural medicine? This might be something that you could say to a person that you're going to sample. Are you open to natural medicine? I've been using essential oils to help with my hay fever, and I think they could really help you with your headaches. Would you like to try a sample? Obviously, you want to say what rolls off your tongue, and you want to be authentic to yourself and be real. So if you don't have hay fever, then you don't want to be saying that. But make it work for you. You tell them about an oil that you've been using that has helped you, and see what they'd like to try for whatever ailment they've got going on. Okay, again, it's all about helping them. So the first contact, remember, you are doing them a favor. You have a gift. Don't be desperate. You don't need to be salesy or pushy. You need to just meet their individual needs. And this is something important to remember. We are the messenger. The oils are the salesmen, okay? So you don't have to be the fountain of knowledge. We have our resources. We have our amazing doTERRA science team, and the guidelines that we get from the main website, and from the founders and the doctors and the knowledgeable people that have provided and created these oils for us. We don't have to know all that to be able to share them. We are the messenger and help people to have the opportunity to have these oils in their hands. And if you feel nervous, then perhaps it might help you to think and to remember not to focus on yourself, because when you're thinking about yourself, you're not serving others, okay? You're not doing the best by them, and they're not going to be helped by the oils. So take yourself and your own feelings out of the equation and focus on them, and that will help you. Okay, now this is important. Take their contact details, okay? A sample does not count, guys, unless you have got their details. Don't think that they're going to definitely come back to you. They won't. People are busy. They'll forget. They might forget to use their oil. It might lie in the bottom of their handbag. You need to have their details to follow up with them. And by having their details and following up with them, you are providing great customer services, okay? And you're showing that you care. Don't just give them your card. They will not call you, okay? So what you need to do, if you're organized, you could record names in a spreadsheet with their name, their email, the telephone number, details of the sample that you gave them. And then when you followed up, the date that they might be coming to a class, what they bought, if they've had a wellness consultation, and following that, if they may become a user or a sharer or a builder, okay? So if you have all of these details together in an organized way, it's going to help you to stay on top of it as you grow and get busier. Having said that, I am not that organized person. My computer skills are getting better, but it's certainly not my greatest forte. So I just have like a spiral bound notepad, and I just have my list on there, and I have little boxes that I tick off as I go. So do what works for you. Some people love a spreadsheet. Safety instructions to send with a sample. I like to do this. I like to feel like I'm providing people with safety guidelines, and I think this is important and something that we've really taken on board within our team, and we want to do this because we don't want anybody to say that we're not doing this, or doTERRA are being sharing things with people that are not unsafe and being irresponsible. We don't want that. So I like to do that, and I think it's a great thing to do to help people, because when they first get a sample, they don't know what to do with it. Okay, so some of the things that you can include with your safety instructions might be: test the essential oil on the bottom of your foot first, then use with a carrier oil if using topically. If you're using internally, place 1 to 2 drops in some water or honey or a carrier oil and take. Okay, remember that in a sample bottle it's 1/3 of a standard drop, so you want to let people know that. And then the frequency, so you want to tell them, use the oil as and when they need to. Generally this is every 2 years, but for certain conditions you can use every 20 minutes for a short period. Okay, again, this is all in your book. I have these really cool little sample safety cards that I got from Essential Oil Supplies that I showed you before. And they're really great because you can tick off why you're using the oil, for what part of the body and for what system. You can also then write in which oil or product you've sampled and give them a little bit of guidelines on there as well. And it's got some safety guidelines on the back. And then it's got a little tear off bit at the bottom, so you can write down their details, their contact number, and remind yourself what you sampled them with, and that's for you to keep. So that's kind of cool. On our doTERRA Facebook page, we do have on our one of our files, we do have a nice safety document that Sarah Barber from our team, lovely Sarah from Brighton, put together. So that's also something that you could print off and include with your sample, should you wish. Instructions to send with a sample. There you go. So give examples of how they can use it for their specific ailment. Remind them to keep it out of their eyes, ears and nose. Dilute with a carrier oil, not water, because oils and water don't mix. Make sure that they know that a drop from a sample bottle is the third of the size of a standard drop. Here are some common sampling fears that people come across. We don't want to be pushy. So don't be pushy. I never wanted to be pushy. I could never have done this business if I felt like I was being pushy, if I felt like I was one of those people walking down the street and people were thinking, oh gosh, here she comes. I never wanted to be that person, and I never have been that person. And generally I find people are really, really keen and supportive, actually, to hear how it's all going and learn about the oils. People approach me these days. Okay, be genuine, share naturally. We feel uncomfortable selling to friends. Look at it from a different angle, okay? Just like we said before, you have got something amazing. The people who you want to help first are the people that you love, your friends and your family. And you are not selling, you're sharing, okay? So I never talk about selling the oils. I never say I'm selling oils. I share oils with people, and then they buy them if they want to, but I'm not selling them. Remember though, as well, there are many other people out there who will want to learn from you and experience the magic of these oils, not just your friends, not just your warm market. Don't just think about the area that you live in. If you want to be a success with doTERRA, think bigger. You have all over the world to explore. If you have people in foreign countries, be contacting them. Because if you don't, someone else will. Sampling fears continued. We think the oils are too expensive. These are medicinal grade oils. These are amazing. And people these days, they spend their money on stuff that has now no value to their lives. Look how many people, I was watching a training with Ange Peters today from WholeFit, who are, you know, many of us love. She was talking about people in the Starbucks queue. Look how many people queue up and buy coffees and, you know, things that do not benefit their health. Look how many people spend their money on designer shoes and handbags. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but these oils enrich and add value to your life, you know, and they're worth every penny. 1 drop of peppermint oil for a headache is about 7p. Actually, let's think about that. That's not that expensive. It's cheaper than an aspirin. 1 drop of basil for an ear infection costs 6p. You know, how much does it cost to buy standard medication? And I know we have the NHS in this country, but how much does it cost to have time off work because you're ill? How much does it cost to have time off work because your child's ill? How much does it cost you in petrol to drive to the doctors? These are all things to consider. These oils are not expensive when you think about what they can do. We are afraid of rejection. Lots of people are when they start, but there's no need to be. We have this gift to offer and to share. And we know from using them ourselves, and you will do if you start to use them and live them, that they genuinely work and they help people. And all we need to do is be honest and passionate. It is a privilege to share these gifts. And as we said, it takes on average 5 to 8 exposures before someone buys. So don't be disheartened. Just keep going and your snowball will gather momentum. Don't expect everybody to want to buy them straight away, because that won't happen, okay? You have to almost expect that it won't happen, and just keep going. So giving a sample. If possible, give the sample face-to-face or call them when the sample has arrived. You really do want to be having that personal contact with them so they develop that trust. Explain when you give the sample the similarity between medications and essential oils. If you don't do this, then 50% of people you sample will not come to the class. It's important because, you know, the sample doesn't always work. Everybody's chemistry is different, and we really want them to not be deflated if it doesn't quite hit the spot for them. I always say to people, if this doesn't work, if it doesn't quite hit the spot, I'll come back to you and we'll find something that does, because there will definitely be an oil here to help you. Just let them know that beforehand. Explain that you are giving them the oil that is the most effective for most people, but everybody's chemistry is different. Tell them that you will call them in 2 days to see how they've got on. That's really important, because then they're going to expect the follow-up call, and you're looking after them. They're going to feel cared for. Follow up 2 days later. Best to do this in person or by phone. And when you do that, you're going to want to say, hey, have you had the chance to use the essential oil sample that I gave you yet? If they have, and they've had a great experience, fantastic. Invite them to your next class. If they haven't, then maybe suggest that they use it today and you'll call them tomorrow. What about if they've not had a good sample experience? Okay, they might say, oh, I've not. Then you want to get to the bottom of this. Okay, so you need to find out what they did. So how did you use it? How often? How frequently? How many drops? In many cases, they didn't use it and they might be a bit shy about that. That's fine. Don't make them feel bad. Life is busy. And you just want to sort of find out. In most cases, again, they maybe just used 1 drop. They might need to do it more regularly than that. So find out what they did and try and work out a way to help them. Maybe say, go away and use it a bit more regularly, use a bit more oil, or try it in a different way or a different modality. If that doesn't work, maybe they might need to try another oil on the list. Okay, so ask those discovery questions to lead you to the following. You know, they may need to increase the frequency, they may need to increase the amount of drops, try a different application method, or try different oil due to their individual chemistry. Ensure class attendance. Okay, so this is what I do. When somebody has had that good positive experience and you've invited them to a class that they can come to, I contact them in 3 different ways. I email them straight away to let them know that they're registered for the class and give them some details, basic time, venue, details like that. Then, this is really important, 2 days before the class, call them. Tell them you're looking forward to seeing them. Leave them a voicemail if you don't get through. And, you know, you might need to tell them, have a reason to call them. So you wanted to tell them about the directions, or there's parking on the street or something like that. Okay, have a reason. Then, again, this was all done by study. What is the most effective way of getting your people to the class? Text them 2 hours before the class to say that you're looking forward to seeing them and you have a little gift or a surprise for them. And that can be anything. That can be some raw chocolates that you made. That can be a little toothpaste sample or a shampoo sample or an On Guard sweet or a Breathe sweet. Doesn't really matter what it is. I like to sometimes make raw chocolate. So I'll sometimes say, I've been busy preparing a little surprise for you on the day. But, you know, do whatever works for you. Again, this is going to generate their interest and remind them. And 2 hours is the best time, because if it's 6 hours before, they still have time to forget. If it's 1 hour before, it's probably too late. So homework, continuing from last week, I just wanted to go over. If you haven't already, you need a resource book. You need this, guys. You need to study the intro. It's going to help you share, and it's going to help you with your first classes that hopefully you'll have coming up. Buy the book, start reading. Set up a separate email account and a file in that email account for useful links and articles that you come across, to save them and keep them all in one place. I also have a separate different file for people who are interested, people who have been to a class, people who have signed up, and my team. So I have different sections within my contact list as well, and it's good to have this from the beginning rather than get yourself all, you know, mixed up and have to, it will take you longer to have to sort out if you don't do them from the start. Buy the A to Z booklets if you want them. They are helpful. I don't tend to give them to everybody, but they're great to have in your handbag. And occasionally, if you meet someone really good who you think could be a great builder moving forward, you might want to give them one to help generate their interest. Obviously, you need your sample vials to get sampling and sharing. So essential oil supplies. Use the tribe and Facebook and the WhatsApp group for top sampling tips. We have so many beautiful, amazing people on our tribe with such knowledge and such love to share. Use it. We have something that a lot of other teams don't have. So embrace it and make the most out of it. And as you do this, you will grow your own testimonials. But don't be afraid to share other people's with people that you meet. So this is a great thing to do. Complete the Live section from doTERRA University. So you just want to Google doTERRA University. It's on the main doTERRA website, and they've got a Live section. And this can be something that you go through to help you to become a product of the oils that you're going to share. And check out the Everything Essentials archived link, okay? If you haven't got this already, your upline can send it to you. It's an archived link of A to Z of different ailments, but it also has other people's testimonials on it, which I love. I love reading what's worked for other people. And the really exciting thing that we learned last week from David Sterling, who's one of the founders, is that this link's actually going to come back and it's going to be updated. And it's not going to have specific reference to doTERRA products, but it's a great, great resource. We have the old archive link from before, but it's going to come back. It's going to be updated. So it's fantastic. And you can share this with people. If if you're looking up an ailment and it's in this Everything Essentials link, you could copy and paste it and send it to them so they can see for themselves. Homework for this week. So should you wish to want to do it, prepare at least 20 samples of different oils for common ailments. We like to carry around samples with us all the time, your most common sample oils, because you never know who you're going to meet. So it's great if you have them on you. You could get a little key ring to carry them around with you in, or you can get the bigger sample pouches from essential oil supplies as well. And then just have them with you, carry them around. Set 3 to 4 class dates if you haven't already with your upline, okay? Because you want to have these dates in place so you can be generating interest, and then once people have these positive sampling experiences, you'll be able to invite the people. Create a spreadsheet for your people. This is going to help you and start sampling. Get out there. Go for it. And if you really want to go for it, 2 samples a day is a great guide. So I've come to the end of my little presentation. I hope this has helped. I hope this has made sense. I now want to pass you over to our lovely, lovely Robin Fawcett. So I'm just going to stop my screen share. Try and bring you back.
Is there a way for me to share my screen, Emily?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'll make you host, Robin. We're so lucky to have the Essential GP as part of our tribe. And
if I look really blue on the screen.
So,
I don't know why I look blue. I'm not a robot, I swear.
You're blue. Robin was at convention with me a couple of weeks ago, and Rochelle, a couple of others of us, and I'm very excited to hear what she's to share with us all. So I'll pass you over. Let me just make you host so you can screen share.
Okay, let me pull up my thingamajig and then I will share it. Oops, hang on. Start share. Here we go. Okay. Is that working? Oh, what happened to my voice? Am I muted?
It's all good.
Oh, good. Okay. It went quiet for a second. So, at the risk, I'm totally going to send everybody. Now I'm really blue, aren't I? Ooh. At the risk of sending everybody completely to sleep, because I know it's kind of late, I'm going to do a little whistle stop tour. And I know Emily's recording this. So if anyone needs to catch up with this afterwards, I'm not going to be offended if anyone just wants to go to sleep. Or if this puts you to sleep. So I went to convention, as Emily said, but I also went to a medical symposium that doTERRA held a couple days before convention, just for medical professionals. I think they intended this to be basically doctors at first, but then I don't think many doctors wanted to come, and so they rolled it out. And so it was mostly nurses who were also wellness advocates, so it was a little bit less sciencey than I think doTERRA probably intended. But I took a bunch of notes, and I just wanted to, the content, a lot of it, and if anyone has seen some of the convention recordings, it was a lot of really inspiring stuff about wanting to change the way healthcare is done, particularly in the United States, but it's very relevant to the UK as well, and wanting to make it more integrative, more holistic, put the care back in healthcare. And you'll hear a lot of that inspiring stuff in other places and on blogs, but I wanted to just run through some of the nitty gritty. And if people have questions about any of it, just message me on Facebook or post something on the tribe and I can go into more detail. But I wanted to run through some of the, and maybe explain a couple of little points that might not have made sense. So I'm going to get some of the chemistry. This is from the medical Professionals Day. Let me turn around and see if nothing you can see my face. That's a little better. This is some of the information that at the Medical Professionals Day talked about. And this was news to me, a lot of this. So first of all, one of the challenges taken an interest in essential oils is because the whole essential oils can't be patented. They are such complex molecules that you can't patent an essential oil, but their constituents can be. So things like the linalool that's in lavender could be patented. And so that's where a lot of the research is when you look online, might be some of the constituents rather than the whole oil. Another random little tidbit was that essential oils might work synergistically with medications, and this is something that they're going to be looking into in the future. And apparently benzodiazepines, which is a class of drugs that's like Valium or Xanax, lorazepam, temazepam, the PAM family. But something to be aware of a little bit also, that if you've got someone who's on tranquilizers and using really relaxing essential oils, it may actually magnify the effect. And there's a lot of research that needs to be done in that still. A couple of websites for you to bookmark. aromaticscience.com is a website that doTERRA has put together, and it's not promoting doTERRA's products at all. They're just providing a portal where you can look up scientific journal articles about essential oils. And that's a great one to share if you know aromatherapists who are skeptical. It's a nice thing to show them that doTERRA does, and that expressly forbidden on the site is anyone talking about brands. It just is a gift, a public service, a resource for anyone who's interested in essential oils, regardless of brands. doTERRA has also put together a group of scientists, sort of advisory panel, and they've got a website called aromaticplant.org. It's a lot about another science research site, and you can also find them on Facebook. And then one of the quotes that came up again and again was really that the clinical application of essential oils is entering the main stage of modern medicine. It's not alternative anymore, especially in the States. And even now, this was seen as a big thing, that there was a nursing journal in the US that had a whole section on using essential oils. And if you completed the quiz at the end, you actually got continuing medical education credits, or CPD as it's known in this country, CME in the States. So that shows that it really is an alternative. They wouldn't give you points towards your license for knowing about essential oils if it wasn't real. So that was all kind of encouraging stuff. There we go. Then talking about essential oils and health generally. Interestingly, mental health is the area that's the hottest topic for research right now. Like, more clinical trials are being done about the effect of essential oils and mood and stress levels than on any other area of health. And one of the quotes that came up that I quite liked was, it's not stress that kills us, but our reaction to stress. And so essential oils, as we all know who've used them, can really help our own emotional processing when things are stressful in life. Other areas, if you had sciencey people and you wanted to look at hard science studies, there are some really good ones about nausea and vomiting, particularly for people who are having surgery or chemotherapy. Perioperative means during an operation. Preoperative is before the operation. Post-operative is afterwards. So peri is during. And there's a physician, a doctor, called Dr. Hunt at the University of North Carolina, which is a big medical center. And he did a really lovely study that's easy to read and interpret. And those 4 oils were very effective at reducing the nausea and vomiting that happens to people because of the anesthesia that they have during surgery. And as he says in this article, medication really isn't that great for it. It helps some people, but not everyone. And so he sees a real clear role for essential oils there. And that's quite a nice article to read. Chronic pain is another area where essential oils are a big area of interest. I'm reading between the lines that anesthesiologists, anesthetists in this country are hot on essential oils, because if there's pain, which is anesthetist, and operations and nausea and vomiting, that's anesthetists. Maybe as a group, they're more open to this. But chronic pain, because chronic pain in particular, it involves the emotional side and the physical side. It's not just physical pain. There's an emotional component. And essential oils, as we know, work really holistically. And so something that feels good from a pain standpoint often addresses the emotional needs. And at one point, they just rattled off a whole bunch of essential oils that people are looking at for pain. And so I typed them all down and just threw them up on the slide. These are all oils you might want to think about if you have customers or know people who are thinking about pain. These are all oils you might want to just try. And I know some of them will be familiar to us, but some might not be. I wouldn't have thought about juniper berry for pain, for example. Let's see. Oils and cancer, there were a couple of very roundabout references to studying, mostly it was cancer cells in like in a petri dish rather than people with cancer, if that makes sense. And they studied how essential oils interact with those cancer cells, and particularly with some of the genes that those cancer cells upregulated or downregulated. And these oils all came up as being very, very active. They seemed to do a lot of things to the cancer cells. And in many instances, some of these oils had very similar profiles to chemotherapy agents. So that's kind of all they said. They were trying to be very, very careful. But that said, DDR prime came up as a really, really big one. But lemongrass, frankincense, helichrysum, and thyme all had lots of really interesting molecular activity. So it's a huge area of future study. We're a long way away from using them in people therapeutically, at least in modern medicine. But the early stages show that they certainly are very, very interesting, complex molecules that are highly active in our cells and tissues. Then there were a couple examples from doctors who talked about how they use essential oils clinically. There's an orthopedic surgeon called Dr. Winterton, and he in particular in his orthopedic surgery practice really uses a lot of essential oils. He's actually got a massage therapist on site who's AromaTouch qualified, and all his patients come in, and before they see him, they have a nice foot and leg massage. I was like, how great is that? Sure, any minute now in the NHS we're going to do that too, I'm sure. So these were some of the oils he used and the combinations he used. So his patients who had some pain in a joint, he used wintergreen with eucalyptus and AromaTouch. The relaxation oils that he used, and everyone who, before they went into surgery, in the pre-op section of the hospital, someone would come in and give them a foot or hand massage with lavender, bergamot, frankincense, and AromaTouch. And he said that people, when they have that done in the office, he sometimes has to give them rosemary and peppermint before they go home because they're too relaxed to drive. And perioperatively, he suggests, because his hospital won't let, the anesthesiologist won't give them anything during the surgery because they're not on board, he gives family members a capsule with DigestZen. And he says, when your family member wakes up, give them this, which I thought was a nice way of kind of getting around it, because if it's administered by a family member, that's fine. And then post-operatively, because he does a lot of joint replacements, like knee replacements and hip replacements, people are at really high risk of having an infection in the joint. I've been contacted by somebody in a sister team who had a family member with a really serious infection that she was trying to use oils to help him. And it's a really, really bad thing to get an infection in the new prosthetic joint. So he has patients putting essential oils, and he has a whole regimen for them that immediately after surgery, they're doing it 4 times a day. But he says even for life, he has them do it once a day over the scar and over the new joint, just to prevent any infections. So those were all, I thought, really interesting things that they were doing. And then there was an oral surgeon, a sort of dental maxillofacial guy. And he had a few patients who had chronic, whether they had cancer or various other problems. And they basically had, like, I don't want to gross anybody out, but a fistula, so like a wound that's not healing and like is permanently draining stuff from that should be going into your mouth and throat, but it comes out of your face and neck. And he found that oregano was really helping some of those wounds that no amount of antibiotics was going to fix. And these poor people are living with these hideous wounds. And he very easily got them to agree to try oregano and found some really good success. Then we had, this woman is a clinical psychologist, not a medical doctor, but she spoke at convention itself, but she talked to us as well on the medical day and talked a lot about the importance of our kind of emotional well-being. And she did a study where she works. She didn't get approval to do the study on patients. She works with cancer patients and does like therapy and psychology stuff with them. But she got approval to do it on the staff. And she said she thinks actually, it's just like here in the UK, like the stress levels and people's negative thoughts about work and healthcare are crazy high, right? Everyone's super stressed and negative. And she felt like maybe some people's interaction with healthcare, when they have a bad experience, and we all know people who've had bad experiences in healthcare, some of that could be because the caregivers are so burned out. So her hypothesis was if we could improve the mental well-being of the caregivers, we're actually going to help patients too. So she used the 6 oils and the emotional aromatherapy system in a diffuser at work and did lots of surveys of how people felt at work during and after those oils being diffused. And to summarize her results, amazingly, Forgive came out as the clear winner. And a lot of people, that's their least favorite oil of the 6. And so there were gasps at convention. Everyone was like, no way, Forgive. But it was the most effective for boosting your positive mood at work and reducing kind of negative thoughts, angry feelings, fearfulness, bitterness, all that nasty stuff. Forgive was the winner. She also looked at people's fatigue at work, and she was a little worried. I liked that she showed her negative results. She didn't like seeing that certain oils made people feel more fatigued. But I thought it was kind of obvious that Console and Peace have vetiver in them. And anyone who's ever had vetiver, it just makes you want to like keel over and fall asleep. So I didn't think that was that surprising or concerning. I once diffused Serenity in my GP surgery, and I ended up like an hour late, running so late because I was super tired and not, patients we were just going slow. So don't do Console and Peace at work. Cheer and Motivate were actually both quite good for anxiety at work, which I thought was interesting. So then on to convention itself. Friday at convention was Science Day. Yay, science. And it's really hard to summarize like a whole day. So I thought I would just write down a few of the things that for anyone who didn't get to watch the recording, they mentioned right at the beginning a study that was done in 2010 that I didn't know about, but you can look it up on aromaticscience.com. There is a physician at University of Oklahoma, and in 2010 he did a big On Guard study. You can Google On Guard Woo influenza and it will come up. And he saw that On Guard hugely decreased how much the influenza virus could infect different cells. And then he talked a lot of really interesting, nerdy science about what exactly On Guard's doing to the viruses. But that doesn't really matter. It just means that flu isn't going to infect people if it's around On Guard. So that's why I use that. That's my number 1 oil in the winter months in my GP surgery. Similarly, a new study at Vanderbilt, there was a nurse who ran that study and she presented at convention. And surfaces that were cleaned with On Guard, if you then spray them with MRSA, the MRSA doesn't grow. So another good reason to clean your house with On Guard. Then there was a really cool British scientist, Dr. Lawrence, that we all kind of, like Team UK was like, we love you. Because he was really funny and slightly inappropriate and like just very English. And I think we were all ready for a little bit of British humor by then. My countrymen are very earnest. I'll just say that. He had a quote, and I'm still not entirely sure what it means. Maybe Emily can help out. A standardized oil is an adulterated oil. Sorry, I forgot out a syllable. Not an adulterated. So I guess if it says it's standardized, that it's been adulterated means it's been messed around with. It's not pure. But I thought it was interesting. This is because people ask all the time. I had someone today who was singing the praises of a brand of essential oils that we all know is not good. And I was trying to explain to her what even really good companies do to their oils to make them cheaper or better at selling. And they either dilute them, so they'll cut them with like sunflower oil, or they'll add other natural chemicals that aren't from that specific essential oil. So it could be natural, it could be an extract from a plant, but it doesn't belong with that essential oil. It just makes it smell nice or makes you think it's that oil, but it's not. Or they'll add in synthetic versions of the components. So lavender has, or lots of citrus oils have linalool. And so they'll make a chemical synthetic linalool and stick it in the bottle because that's cheaper than using the natural way. Or they'll add in extracts from other essential oils to the one, especially for the really expensive ones like rose. Often people will stick geranium or parts of the geranium essential oil in with the rose to make it cheaper. So people will be like, I got a bottle of rose for 10 pounds. And you just laugh at them because there's no way. It probably is mostly geranium or other cheaper synthetic stuff. I didn't know any of that. I thought that was cool. Okay, we're almost there. David Hill, who is the chief medical officer, I think is his title. He's a chiropractor, but he's Dr. Hill. Because in the States, everyone's a doctor. And but he's incredibly knowledgeable about the chemistry. He is like the essential oils expert. He is a legend. We love Dr. Hill. I want to summarize his whole talk. This is my quote, not his, but I want to summarize his whole talk, which was really cool. With like, basically it's chemistry. It's not voodoo. It's not magic. It's chemistry. That's why essential oils work. It's chemistry. He talked about how essential oils are differentiated in how they function. So what they do, and that they act on a wide variety of receptors and pathways in our bodies. They make help keep healthy cells healthy, but they can restore healthy function to damaged cells. Essential oils are lipid soluble, which means they pass really easily through fatty stuff, and our bodies have a lot of fatty stuff, particularly around our cells. So they penetrate the tissues easily. They go through our skin. They go into our cell membranes, and they're transported very easily in the body. They're also tiny, which means it's very easy for them to transport and fast. Sesquiterpenes are a type of essential oils, and they cross the blood-brain barrier very easily. And this is a list of a few of the ones that are largely sesquiterpenes. So I'm just going to say it. All of these oils are aphrodisiacs. So I don't know what's going on with sesquiterpenes and the blood-brain barrier. But when I read that list, I was like, But they're all deeply relaxing, have a powerful effect on our mood. And that's probably because they're just shooting straight into our brain. It's okay, I'm a doctor. I'm allowed to say that. And then the really cool thing that I'm going to show this in a different slide, but basically doTERRA has now released an oil chemistry wheel. And this, basically, if you have Modern Essentials, you can look at this and it'll make a lot more sense. At the beginning of Modern Essential, there's a section on chemistry, which, let's be honest, most of us just ignore. But it's kind of neat to have the wheel helps make sense of the chemistry a little bit and understand how the different oils relate to each other. So I'm going to show, it's really cool. It's on 2 different pieces of A4 paper. You can download it. The link is here, and I'm going to show you the wheel in a second. And you can print it out, and you can even laminate it if anyone has one of those laminating machines. If you print it out in double-sided, it would end up looking a little, if anyone has the emotions wheel, this is kind of groovy. You can buy these on essential oil supplies for like, I don't know, a few pounds, a couple pounds. You could do the same thing with the chemistry wheel. So let me just figure out, where did it go? You guys still see my screen? Is it sharing? Okay, cool. So this is basically, he divided the essential oils into 2 main chemical groups. They either have a sesquiterpene main molecule as their backbone, and then they all have these other little groups, functional groups that affect, like like the Earth with like little satellites that orbit around it, and all the different satellites help make up how an oil works. So the ones with the sesquiterpene background are all of these oils around here, the soothing, stabilizing, but then there's ones that have a monoterpene backbone, and they have all these other little functional groups added to the side. So you can look at so what he was saying is, if, say, you look up in a book and it says, oh, you should use juniper berry for this purpose, which is down here. But if the person hates the smell, or you don't have juniper berry, you might want to look for another oil that has similar chemistry. So you might say, well, actually, maybe I'll try cypress or frankincense and try that one instead. So it's just another way of getting a feel for the oils. So that was kind of neat. And then I think that's all I was going to tell you. But other than, how cool is this? It's not at all science, but this was my fortune cookie that I got while I was in Salt Lake City. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was during the medical professionals science day. And I was like, oh, how fun to have something totally non-sciencey. So I'll keep you posted. I don't know what the miracle is, but I'll let you know. So that is my like whistle stop tour without, maybe there's like 3 people still awake.
No, that was amazing, Robin. Thank you so much. And just as Dr. Hill's legend, you are our UK legend, Doctor.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, yes, you are. So Thank you. That's amazing. And I hope everyone, you enjoyed our training tonight. Sorry, it was a bit long, but loads of great information. We will be here again next week, same time, 8 o'clock. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of you guys tomorrow, hopefully, in London. And yeah, thank you, Robin. Thank you for putting that together. You're awesome.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was saying, all the questions, did people have questions that needed to get answered? Maybe not. No, people are complimenting me on my mood lighting.
Yeah. Can we call you Dr. Horn?
What? Please don't. Please don't.
Aphrodisiac oils and blue lighting?
At least it wasn't red lighting.
Right. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll let you guys go, but yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Good evening, and we'll see you all soon. Any questions, post on the tribe, use your WhatsApp group, and thank you for being here and sharing something awesome.
Bye.
Good night, guys.